So good morning, everyone in Facebook Live and here in the Zoom audience. Today is the 3rd of October, 2021. And today we are going to have our 58th International English Online meeting, which is called Teaching English in Latin America. This morning, as usual, let me share my screen so we can have an idea of what we are going to do today. So the name of International English Online Meetings is because all of you are from different countries and they are online. Anyone who can read? I have a problem. Okay. Anyone who wants to read the first quote, please? Sorry. And the first quote is this one. Anyone who wants to read, maybe Mercilinda?
Okay.
And say what you think.
Okay. What a teacher is more important than what he teaches. Carl Menninger.
Any opinion, any idea, Mercilinda?
Well, of course, we are more than just the content that we teach. I mean, that we are integrated people, that we are more than the topic that we teach. So we are people, and that's the thing.
Yes. The only mistake here is that what he or she teaches.
Well, it's general. We understand.
María Teresa, could you help us with the next one, please?
Better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher. It's a Japanese proverb. I think sharing with somebody who is involved in an activity or in a process of growing up intellectually, it has the option to share with somebody and he can get as much as possible of the knowledge that the other person has.
Thank you so much, Maria Teresa. And finally, Raj.
A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. Yeah, this is amazing because we never know what we're saying today, where it goes, who it goes with, and how far it will travel. So that's what we say, let's use our words wisely. Looking forward to it.
And the beautiful thing is when we meet up with our students 10, 15 years later, and they say, I'm Mary, I'm doing this, I'm studying this. Okay, so all the other international meetings are recorded in this YouTube channel, and our guest speakers in the future will be Jose Lobos from Colombia, and then Roxy from Peru, and then Mauricio Arango, who's been with us once or twice from Colombia too. Our good friend from England, but who works and lives in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Alastair Grant from England. Then Silvina Velázquez from Argentina and Rocío Oviedo from Colombia. And finally, Marina González from Argentina. So today, I want to thank Mercilinda Ortiz Mena from Guatemala, who is the Directora de la Escuela de Idiomas, Licenciatura en Enseñanza de Inglés, con especialización en Tecnología educativa en la Universidad Mariano Galvez de Guatemala. Also, Andrea Scagnetti from Argentina, Directora del Profesorado Universitario de Inglés en Universidad Nacional de Hurlingham, Argentina. And also María Teresa Teran from Bolivia, Directora de la Carrera Lingüística e Idiomas en Universidad Mayor de San Andrés, Bolivia. And also Gladys Arias Rodríguez from Colombia, Directora del Programa de Pregrado de Licenciatura en Español en Lenguas Extranjeras, Inglés, Francés, en la Universidad Santo Tomás from Colombia. Then the male speakers, José Obando Arroyo from Ecuador, coordinador de Pedagogía de los Idiomas Nacionales y Extranjeros de la Facultad de Educación, Ciencia y Tecnología en la Universidad Técnica del Norte, Ecuador. Marco Aparicio Fernández from México, coordinador de la Licenciatura en la Enseñanza del Inglés en la Facultad de Lenguas en la Benemérita Universidad Autónoma de Puebla, México. And finally, the last one, but not the least, Julio Valladares Pacher, from Peru, promotor de la carrera de lengua inglesa en la Facultad de Ciencias de la Educación en la Universidad de Piura. So thank you all. Thank you everyone in Facebook Live and the people who are present here. So let's start with the first question, Andrea. Introduce yourself, say where you work, and explain what your job is about.
Jaime, I would like to share my screen with you.
Please do, please do.
Okay. All right, just a second.
Don't worry, don't worry.
First of all, thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here today with colleagues from all over Latin America. Well, I am Andrea Scagnetti, and I'm the director of the English Teacher Education Program in la Universidad Nacional de Hurlingham. Our university is situated, wait a sec, because I'm going to, okay, better there. Is situated in the suburbs of the province of Buenos Aires. It was created by law in 2014 during Cristina Fernández de Kirchner's government and started academic activities in 2016. We actually rose from the ashes because our university used to be a factory, a sausage factory, and then the university bought the place and built the university there. I would like to share 48 seconds of Victor's words as regards this event, because he was a worker at the factory and nowadays he's working at the university.
Great.
Please.
Algo que no sé si es la adrenalina de todos, tratamos de evitar accidentes. Después fue un tiempo.
Could you turn up the volume, Andrea?
Yes. Wait a second then, I have to, here.
That's okay, don't worry.
Yes. Tell me if it's better.
Hoy el edificio Malvinas.
A little bit.
Que era día del niño en agosto, fue algo que no sé si es la adrenalina de todos, que todos corríamos para un lado, abríamos todo, tratamos que no hubiera accidentes. Después fue un tiempo muy vacío, de incertidumbres. Cuando nos enteramos todos que iba a empezar una universidad, pues, ¿qué pasará? La verdad es lo que veo acá, en este edificio nuevo, que el día de mañana, pues, mi hijo ahora está en la secundaria, tiene 12 años, pueda estar acá, circulando por acá. Eso es lo que veo yo.
Well, it's a longer video, but I just wanted to share with you these very first seconds. Jaime, shall I go on with the description of the institute and everything? Or do you
Yes,
want...
of course.
Okay, all right. So the university is divided into 4 institutes. Instituto de Educación, where all the teacher education programs belong to. Then an Institute of Technology and Engineering, the Institute of Health Sciences, and Biotechnology Institute. This is my second question. Is it okay if I go on? Yes?
Could you please just answer the first question?
Okay, right. So, yeah.
So you're done with the first question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Andrea. Gladys in Colombia, please.
Wait, I have to stop sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Gladys in Colombia, your microphone.
Okay, thank you, Jaimito. Can I share the screen, please?
Please do.
Okay.
Good morning, Josue in Ecuador.
Sorry, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Good morning, how are you?
Hello, hello.
Thanks for inviting.
Okay, thank you. So just let me tell you a little bit about our institution, about our program. First of all, so I work for the Universidad Santo Tomás, Colombia. So the main branch is located in Bogota, but also it has different branches in some main cities. But I'm going to focus my attention in telling you a little bit about Tunja, which is the city where I live and also where we have the university. Here you can see some pictures. Let me explain you a little bit. So Tunja is located more or less in the center of the country, right? This is at about 2 hours from Bogota by car. And this is at about 2.822 meters over the sea level. So here you can see our city. This is so nice, I think. And this is in process of development, I think so, and growing up a lot. Well, now I'm going to tell you a little bit about exactly the university, the different places here in Tunja. So we have a beautiful building downtown. But also we have the campus. In the campus, we have 2 buildings, and there is where we have our Licenciatura en Lenguas. And this is like a new building with all the technology necessary to teach, especially for our languages, but also to teach some other, in some other careers. So I would like to show you a very short video about our program, right? So give me a second, please.
Go ahead, Gladys.
So, okay, just finally about this point, the matter is that we are starting with this program. I am very happy because so really we have a very good group of students, and we are in first semester, but with all the motivation to continue growing and continue working in this beautiful program. Okay, I think that's all about the first question, Jaime.
Thank you so much, Gladys. Next one, Mercilinda in Guatemala.
Okay, thank you, Jaime. Let me see. Okay, I'll try to present other of my screens here. Let me see. Here. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, well, so first of all, as you say, my name is Mercilinda Ortiz Herrera, and I am the director of the language school at UMG, Universidad Mariano Galvez de Guatemala. And well, so far you have talked about my background. So I have a master's in teaching, and also I am a certified Blackboard education platform teacher, and I've been directing the language school for the last 16 years. And so far, what I do in my job is like I promote the careers and language courses. I am in charge of the training programs of teaching new teacher trainings. I supervise the teaching process and administer the language center, and also I administer the examination center that we have TOEFL test and the Oxford English test. And this is the picture of our campus, and here I have a video. I hope you can listen to it, because I'm not sure about the sound. But
okay, let's see.
Here we have.
We can't hear anything, Mercy.
Sorry?
There is no sound. We can't hear anything.
Okay, let me see here what it says. Compartir pantalla, but it has to say share, entrar, entrar con sonido.
When you share your screen, you have to click share the sound of your laptop.
I did it, but I don't know what's going on. Let me see. Okay. It says sound. And okay.
No?
Okay, well, so this is video. I already clicked on share audio, so I don't know. So it's a video that explains how we as university have invested lots of money in technology, and also how teachers are trained in the use of technology. Before the pandemic, we had all of the environments prepared for the new ways of teaching and in a very computerized world, okay? So the video is about the way that teachers learn and explains a little bit about how the university works. Well, what programs do I have in my career? So in the School of Languages, we have 4 main programs. The first programs are the Licenciaturas or BAs. We have 1 BA in translation, English and Spanish. Also, we have the BA in teaching English with a specialization in teaching technology. We also have the Profesorados en Enseñanza de Inglés. And we have a special professionalization program, which is for in-service teachers. We have técnicos universitarios in translation. And of course, we have the courses. We have preparation for the TOEFL test. We have different levels of English like beginners, intermediate, advanced, conversation courses. And now we also have courses for technical courses like medicine and engineering and architecture, which are the ones that actually ask us for specific courses. So we have ESP as another program. And we here at the university, we have the students or the BA with this. I hope you can listen because it's really interesting, you know. Can you listen to the video?
No.
But I have this set up, as you said. It says share sound.
We don't even see it running.
Oh.
It looks frozen.
Okay. Now it's frozen because I'm trying to set up the sound, but it's impossible. I don't know how to do it. Okay. I try here. Optimizar clip. It says stereo de alta fidelidad. So it's on. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Well, so this is a video that has what my students try. Pictures of our campus.
We don't see any picture. It's frozen.
Okay. Well, so let me go back to, I'm gonna stop sharing right now.
Okay.
So I was telling you that our programs are in the university is the largest university in Guatemala. We have about 50,000 students, and we have a presence in all of the departments of the country, especially with the English courses. And the career is with the career is in the main campus, okay? Also, we have been working online. So we have the headquarters in main campus, but the courses have been taught in online for, I mean, since many years before the pandemic, okay? So that's it. That's about Mariano Galvez University and the language school. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Thank you, dear Mercilinda. Now, María Teresa in Bolivia, please.
Thank you. Let me share what I have prepared. Can you see it?
Yes, perfectly.
Well, I work at Universidad Mayor de San Andrés at the Facultad de Humanidades y Ciencias de la Educación. And I am the director of the Linguistics and the Languages Department. Here, our main concern is to train our students basically on what I can say, teaching, one of the objectives that we have. Then we have translation and also research. We are a part in the same department of two main areas, which are the lenguas extranjeras, I would say, that include English and French, and also lenguas nativas that consider two original languages that are very important here in Bolivia, Quechua and Aymara. And besides that, we have Castellano. That is the teaching of what the main language, the official language in Bolivia is. We also have a kind of language institute that is called Language Teaching and Translation Center. Here we teach languages, only languages, but they are not concerned with the linguistic program that we have at the career, to students, university students, or people who might be interested in learning these languages. We also have the Linguistic and Postgraduate Research Institute that is in charge of all the procedures and recording and doing as much research as possible related to the different activities that we carry at the department. And there is also a Linguistics and Languages Learning Resource Center. It's a kind of small library, I would say, but it's really concerned with all the topics that are related to linguistics in the different areas. And I just wanna mention a bit about my own activities. Well, I have a PhD that I obtained in the Universidad San Francisco Javier de Chuquisaca here in Bolivia as well, and an MA that I obtained in language teaching in Thames Valley University and London, UK. My experience is teaching English and teaching other subjects that were required here at the career. And I'm really happy to work in this field because I can share lots of things with students and also with my colleagues. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Maria Teresa, for such interesting and important information. Now let's start with the male teachers. We are going to start with Marco Aparicio from Mexico. Marco, the screen is yours.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I want to share a PowerPoint presentation. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Well, okay. Well, the topic of this roundtable is teaching English in Latin America, because I can see that we come from different countries. So I have to concentrate on teaching English in Mexico, of course. My name is Marco Antonio Aparicio Fernández. I work at the Benemérita Universidad Autónoma de Puebla. This university is one of the largest universities in Mexico. Last year, there were around 85,000 students enrolled in all different programs, especially BA programs in the different areas of knowledge, but also there are many or several programs at the master's degree level, programs at doctoral level, and also in this university there are also some high schools. So we also have some high school students. Well, the school or faculty where I work is the Facultad de Lenguas of this university. This is the main entrance to the school. This school is located near the center of the town. There are, in fact, the Faculty of Languages is a huge school. We have this building, and there is another building in the university campus, and there is also another building at the Centro Cultural Universitario, and one more in the area where there are there is the School of Medicine. Here at the faculty, we have, or we teach several programs, 3 BA programs, an open BA program in English teaching, and a normal BA program in French. I say normal because students study every day at that school, and the BA in English teaching. I am the coordinator of this program. I'm going to show several photographs, okay? What is my job as a coordinator of this program? Well, as I always tell my students when they enter this program, I have to do some academic and work and some administrative work. It is my responsibility to do everything which is necessary for students to be able to study and learn, and for teachers to be able to teach their classes, right? There are many activities that we have to do that have to do with students, that have to do with teachers. Now at this time, for example, we have to go through a process of evaluating the BA program again, because nowadays it is necessary to have a certification for all BA programs in Mexico. I suppose something similar happens in other countries in Latin America, right? Now we are starting that process, for example. but also part of my responsibility is to prepare, for example, that's another process I'm going to start this today, in fact, to prepare all of the courses that will be taught in the next period starting in January, right? We, in this program of English language teaching, we have around or almost 1,500 students, right? And so there are also around 80 teachers who work in this program. Teachers who work in this program also, some of them work in other programs of the Faculty of Languages. Other programs, besides the 3 BA programs that I mentioned, are specifically language teaching programs, not BA programs, but there are programs, for example, the House of English, which teaches English at advanced level, the House of French, the House of German, and there is also another program for the general public, which is called University Extension Courses, and another important program for teaching languages to university students, which is called the Centro de Lenguas Extranjeras, right? Well, in general, that's what I have to do, but there are many activities that I have to do for students to be able to get prepared as language teachers.
Thank you so much, dear Marco Aparicio in Mexico. And now let's go to Jose in Obando in Ecuador, please.
Hi there, how are you? Many thanks for inviting me. Well, let me share my screen first.
Marco, could you please
Yes.
stop?
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, this is it. Well, my name is Jose Miguel Obando. I teach English at Universidad Técnica del Norte. Universidad Técnica del Norte is a small university. It's not like a big university. It's based in Ibarra. Ibarra is a very small city to the north of Ecuador. Okay, it's a public university actually. We have 16,000 students here. We have 5 faculties. We offer these 36 licenciaturas, all of them campus-based. And we also have these new licenciaturas, these online licenciaturas that actually now are part of our offer, of our academic offer. And we also have master degree programs. Actually, we have a master's degree in teaching English as a foreign language, not teaching English as a foreign language. It is Pedagogía de los Idiomas Nacionales y Extranjeros. Actually, that is the name of our major. Our licenciatura has that name, no? Licenciatura en Pedagogía de los Idiomas Nacionales y Extranjeros. And we also have this master's program, okay? This is it. Then I work for this faculty, Facultad de Educación, Ciencia y Tecnología, okay? This is the biggest faculty of our university. Our faculty offers 16 licenciaturas, all of them campus-based. Students. Pedagogía de los Idiomas Nacionales y Extranjeros. Okay. Well, actually, it's a good group of students. It's a very, it's a big group, and actually, all of them are good students, I'd say. We have a group of 7 teachers. We are 7 teachers, actually. We have been working with this group for 4 years. However, this licenciatura started in 1986. And of course, there have been many changes throughout the time, but this is what we are now, okay? And then this group is very active, actually. They do different activities, like they have this group of theater, They are always preparing new plays. They are always presenting new plays. We have bands. So it's a very active group. And this is me, Jose Miguel. Jose Miguel teaches English in this university. I have been teaching here for about 20 years or so. In the past, I didn't teach this major. I was a foreign language teacher. I used to teach English as a foreign language. Now I coordinate this major and it's great. It's a big challenge for me. Okay, it's a big challenge for me because I have a group of teachers who are very experienced. Most of them have been coordinators. Most of them have designed new careers and also new master's programs. So it is a big challenge to me, okay? And also the group of students, okay? Well, what we do is, we do this. We shape new teachers, actually. Okay, this group actually is the last group that graduated from this university. And we also have had a chance to work with experienced teachers in our master's program. And what's more important, we have created a group of friends. That is the idea of this group of teachers, creating new friends, not only professionals, but people who can teach people, and teaching people, the way I see it at least, is a process that helps us to become friends, and that's it. That is me, and that is the university I teach. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, dear Jose. Very informative and illustrative. And finally, we have Julio Valladares in Lima, Peru.
Hello. I hope I don't have problems with this interconnectivity, but thank you very much, Jaime, and thank you very much, my dear colleagues here. My name is Julio Valladares. I work for Universidad Piura. I've been working for Universidad Piura since 2000, I think. And I was given the responsibility, together with other teachers, to set up the school, in the School of Education, the specialization of teaching English as a foreign language. It was a great challenge. I think it is still a great challenge. We're growing little by little. I work for also the language school, but we always work hand in hand with the School of Education. Yes. With Jaime also we work together, and our job mainly is to create different teacher training courses based on the continuous teacher development for all teachers in Peru. You know? And the situation here is that in Peru, there are not many schools of education which the specialization of English. So that's why the challenge is, you know, we have public universities and private universities. Ours is a private university, but out of the private universities, I think only 5 or 6 have the specialization of English. No, if I don't want to just want to give you a taste of our university. This is the building of the School of Education. Yes. That's where Jaime and sometimes I go there to work. Yes, this is an example of one of our favorite teachers. Her specialization is primary. Yes, and it says that we, the university, form educators as a whole. No, it's not just going and teach you how to teach English, but more. Yes, and that's also one of our strengths, I think, from the university. We have 6 careers. We have kindergarten education, primary, secondary, but the specialization of teaching English, maths, physics, literature and language, also history and social sciences. Yes. So if we go here, we have this the career of English, no? And the idea is not only to, I'm going to repeat again, not to teach how to teach, but also to be a great educator, I think, and a great person. No, if we are happy as a person. I think we can do much better than just teaching the subject. Yes, well, that's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And after listening and watching everyone's schools and universities, I'm sure that everyone wants to go to visit Mexico, Ecuador, Guatemala, Peru, Bolivia, and all these beautiful buildings and people and all the programs you have. We feel we don't have that program, but we have this program. And the most important, as Julio said, is to be educators, right? So talking about education, the second question is, and you will start, Gladys, this time. The second question is, let me look for it, please. No, it's not here. Okay, here, I found it. Don't panic. The second question is, what do you think the principal challenge in teaching and learning English are in our countries? As Jose mentioned, let's focus on our countries, okay? So let's start with you, Gladys. This time, let's try to go, let's try to keep the time, okay? Gladys.
Yes, dear. Give me a second. I'm going to share the screen.
All right.
Okay, so when we talk about challenges, so I was thinking, wow, so for sure, we as languages teachers, we understand like the importance of teaching languages. I mean, our mother tongue, in our case, Spanish, I think for most of us, but also the other languages, you know, the foreign languages. As teachers, we understand, we can highlight that this is very important to get another language because we support our society or societies from different points of view. So, for example, we know that those persons who don't mind another language also can be good, for example, for businesses, can develop different processes in education, science, entertainment, for tourism, really for communicating worldwide. In this way, I think that being teachers of languages is very important for everybody, yeah? And in this way, so as we have seen in our context, I mean, like in Latin America, sometimes this is not an easy job, yeah? So because some of our students, I don't know, maybe they think that maybe this is difficult to get or to acquire the other language, or maybe because they think, but wow, so if I don't have money to travel around the world, maybe I'm not going to have the opportunity to use the foreign languages. But so due to, for example, the pandemic, and also because the globalization we are living, so I think that it was an opportunity to understand that domain another language is very important. In this way, I think that motivation is like the main way, I think, that we can do it from our schools. And also we can understand that this is very important, also necessary that our students so can acquire these different languages, I mean, because this is needed. In nowadays, this is necessary, this is very important. And motivation is very important in our classrooms in this sense. Also because this is an opportunity that our students can have to, for example, to travel abroad, to represent our countries. And also because they could, for example, work or exchange information, education, and many things. And because we can support different files of work, as I'm telling you, so in this way, teachers of our students who are going to be teachers in the future, so they are very important to support the society. This is like the analysis I can do about our work, our job from our institutions, and also the importance of English or languages teachers worldwide. So this is a very good job, and this is very interesting to support our societies from learning and practicing foreign languages. Okay?
Thank you, Gladys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea, in Argentina, what about the reality in your country?
First of all, I would like to say that I rushed a lot because I thought I had to give the whole presentation. So I forgot to tell you that we have 30,000 students now, that in our program, 1,500 more or less, and 23 teachers. And then we also carry out research, and of course we teach, and we also have extension in our university. So I think that I'm going to, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I'm going back a little bit. Okay, so for me, the most important challenges in teaching and learning is that we teach languages from the South. And what we are trying to do is to democratize the knowledge, right? So I quoted Nicastro Greco here, because he says that el diseño curricular de la escuela secundaria traza un recorrido para las diversas asignaturas, entre ellas inglés. Dicho recorrido no deja de ser un sendero ideal para que dista de lo que en verdad los alumnos adquieren al finalizar este nivel educativo. So, and our idea is to decolonize education, right, where the needs of students are put forth. Our vice chancellor at that time, and who is nowadays a minister of education of our country, Jaime Persic, and he said that he wanted an English teacher education program. He said that he wanted every student from all public schools to be able to do this program, to be able to attend this course of studies. And that was a great challenge for us. Something else that I forgot, we are a public university, we are free of charge. And the Vice Chancellor said, I want students from different levels to be able to become English teachers if they want to, if they are willing to. So our background was more or less like this, students' backgrounds is what is shown there. Most of them learned English in secondary school, then in primary school, and some of them studied at private institutes or with a private teacher. And when we asked them why they chose our university, the answer was basically because it's near, and because it's public, or because it's a university career, what they were going to study. So our scenario in December 2016, when students sat for a placement test, we had 44% of elementary students, 29% of pre-intermediate, 20% of intermediate, and 8% of advanced students. This last group were the students that could start attending subjects in English. All the rest couldn't. They had to study language first. So our proposal was a summer course just for intermediate students that lasted 8 weeks. 15 students attended the course, and when they finished and passed the course, 20 advanced students joined this group, and then we had 35 students, 2 shifts, morning and an evening shift, and we could start in March 2017 with our first year in the course of studies. But we needed to do something, because as you saw before, only 8% of students could start the career. So we designed, in a way, our strategy was courses, what we call CPIs, cursos preparatorios de inglés, and we give students, for example, elementary students get 300 hours during a year, pre-intermediate 300 hours of language, English language, and intermediate students about 100 hours. And it is compulsory while they attend these courses to also attend a subject that we delivered in Spanish. Here I have very few seconds. You will listen to students what they believe about this, what they think. I'm going here. Let me.
No es un requisito saber inglés. Cualquiera que quiera ser profesor universitario de inglés puede hacerlo por medio del curso que hay nivelatorio, entonces no es excluyente para nadie.
Mr. Brown, oh, hello, you're three. Sorry to be late for breakfast.
Escogí esta universidad porque te brinda el apoyo constantemente desde el momento que me inscribí, desde el momento que no me exigían tener un nivel para poder ingresar a la carrera de inglés, cosa que no se ve, y si no me equivoco son los pioneros en este sistema, en el que si uno no posee el nivel para ingresar a las materias en inglés, la universidad te provee la oportunidad de hacer un curso preparatorio inicial en el que vos podés ir adquiriendo ese nivel, mientras de manera paralela, ya estando dentro de la carrera, podés ir haciendo las materias en español.
Well, so our career has 4 parts, let's say, un campo de formación común, which is common to all the careers at the university, with the exception of French, because our students attend French, and students from other careers just have to attend English, reading comprehension. Then a basic part, which is common to all the programs, teacher training programs. And then the specific subjects, we have yearly subjects, and like, for example, the first year, language, phonetics, and lab, and grammar, and then quarterly subjects. And what is interesting here is that our geography, for example, is not geography of the British Isles, but geography of Europe or America. It's not North America, but all of America. The same happens with history and literature. And then we have this campo de integración curricular, where we get the practice and the didactics and all that. Well, I'm sorry if it was a bit long.
Don't worry, Andrea, don't worry. Thank you so much. Now, Mercilinda, in Guatemala, what is the challenge, the principal challenge your students in your country face? Your microphone, Mercilinda.
Okay, it's done. Well, so I was telling you that since we were going to concentrate this meeting in the teaching or the new teachers, I asked the students to tell me a little bit about their experiences of now teaching process. And let's see if this time you can listen to me, to my presentation.
Thank you for your interest in visiting our website. Here's some important and useful information about our English language school.
The Language School of Mariano Galvez University of Guatemala is fully aware of the importance of teaching and learning the English language for the educational process in today's competitive technological world. And because we know these requirements and demands of training qualified professionals in the educational field, we offer teacher training courses and Bachelor of Arts in English Language and Educational Technology. Also, translation and interpretation, English to Spanish, Spanish to English program. That curriculum is based on the mastery of teaching techniques and the mastery of teaching the English language. English teachers are in high demand around the world, so this degree is a great choice whether individuals are practicing to be professionals or are keen to taking English teaching to a higher level.
We train university students and professionals in the command of a foreign language. We update them in the field of educational technology. We graduate professionals with the academic level and linguistic competence necessary to integrate into competitive labor market. Mariano Galvez University will have a transformative impact through the ongoing higher education that prepares students and professionals with a high academic level in the different fields of education and multilingual communication.
Okay, so this is a short example of what they do. And of course, as I say, I asked them to answer the question like, tell me about your experiences now through the pandemic and before the pandemic, and where do you see yourselves in the future? And this is what they said.
My teaching experience has been great. I have been able to grow and I have learned about how to use different technological tools and apps. Fact, which has made me dig deeper into researching about interactive software to apply new methodologies in classroom practices to make teaching fun and engaging. As educators, we need to evolve constantly and be able to adapt to our students' needs, and this English major is helping me to accomplish just that.
My university experiences thus far have been awesome. I have learned and experienced many things in a very short time, and it has gone by so fast. I am still discovering all the opportunities that university offers me. My classes are great, and I enjoy every one of them. Learning new subjects is challenging, but it is very rewarding. The course load is intense, so time management is very important too.
Studying at Mariano Alves has been amazing. This career has allowed me to apply for a better position in my workplace and helped me to know new methodologies for online teaching, including different tools that help me stay updated in this new modality of teaching due to the pandemic.
Thank you for your interest in visiting our.
Okay, so regardless to the question of challenges in teaching, well, I asked the students if what they think is challenge for them, and they were more focused on finishing the career, like that the courses were challenged, that the classes were challenged, that there was lots of work to do and lots of things to learn. But answering the question that you made us about the challenges in teaching English in Latin American, I was like kind of reading and making some research. And I found some aspects that I think that most of us have in common. I mean, all around Latin America, we have the same challenges after the pandemic: unequal access to online learning opportunities, not only for teacher students, but also for our students in high school or primary school. Another challenge that we had is like in most or 90% of the countries in Latin America, the suspension of face-to-face classes at all levels, including the university. So it was like a passing from blended learning style now to a complete online learning and virtual classes. So the suspension of face-to-face classes is something that has put us into a new position that where teachers have to find ways to teach our students and to keep them engaged with the classes. So it comes to my attention that the one challenge that we all have is how to maintain education continuity. So how are we going to continue our teaching? I mean, how are we going to have our programs to continue or finish the programs? Another challenge that we have is that we have to transform the context in which curricula are implemented. So we have a curriculum. So in Guatemala, we have the CNB, Currículo Nacional Base. So how are we going to implement it? If you read the CNB, it is totally focused on face-to-face classes, not directly to blended or online. Another challenge that we have after the pandemic is what are we going to do with the dropout rates? They are still high in the region. I mean, all over Latin America, we have from teenagers, from primary and university students that are dropped out of the university or the school. Also, another challenge that we have in common is that we're making sure that the reopening school goes smoothly. How are we going to make it smoothly? How? For teachers, for students. It's something that it's a big challenge, you know, because we have many people that has been or has passed through a lot of problems, or we have a lot of losses and etc. And of course, another challenge that we have after the reopening is that how are we going to keep students' attention and awareness of the importance of attending a school? So I think dropout and attending school are very related, and how we're going to maintain the continuity. So for me, these three are the most important challenges that we have. Thank you, Jaime.
Thank you, Mercilinda. Now let's see what happens in Bolivia, Maria Teresa.
Thank you, Jaime. Well, as my colleagues were saying, there are many things that were really a big concern for all of us. Let me try. Okay. The importance of implementing different activities to provide students with the knowledge and the practice is related to the first sentence that I have over here that says diversify the learning environments, right? Besides, to promote autonomous and cooperative learning, especially in this situation where we don't see our students and we only share with them through online work that it's been carried out since last year. Therefore, it's important as well to develop creative thinking by means of creativity and innovation in the class, adapting the different programs, adapting the different procedures to encourage students to continue with their activities and continue learning towards getting a professionalization, which is an objective that they have. Using ICT as a teaching tool and project-based learning to develop problem-solving skills, right? I think this is a big challenge for all of us, for all teachers, right? To see how we can develop these items, these issues, since we are all concerned with the difficulties that we have as well with ICT as teachers and many times students, because they don't have access to all the tools that provide them the information that is related to the area of specialization that they have. Besides, we have to foster contextual learning to attain meaningful learning, right? Sometimes when you are just talking or explaining, it seems that it's, you know, something very subjective. See, and we have to try to find some ways to contextualize activities so they become more involved with the procedures and the development in which they are involved. Thank you.
No, thank you, Maria Teresa, for your enriching comments and ideas. Now let's start with the gentleman again. Now this time, Julio, back to you.
Sorry, I have to turn it off because of my connection problem, but here we are. Yeah, based on the first question, I think, in my opinion, and I think because I've been talking to different teachers, one of the greatest challenges now that we have here in Peru is getting used to the new now in teaching, learning context. No? Having this turning point that we have had everybody in everywhere, from going to face-to-face to online, has really caused a very great impact. No? And in Peru, I suppose it may have happened the same as in your countries. Teachers were like shaken very hard, no, from that change. And I think we're still recovering from that. Yes, we are creative. We have a lot of resilience, but still it has affected the teaching and teaching learning process. And also this new now has affected the teacher and student well-being. And if we know that if our well-being is not okay, we haven't found that balance between life, work, and our relationships, our teaching is not going to be okay. You know? So I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we have now here in Peru. Just think of the interconnectivity. No, now that I'm looking at my computer and say connection unstable, and I say, oh, why? No, and that really affects me as a teacher, as a person, because I said, okay, I'm going to do this and do that, but I better not, because I don't know what the connection is going to be like. Yes, so that's one of the biggest problems. Also in Peru, I think one of the problems that we have and one of the challenges that we have, and maybe it's out of our hands, is to establish a state policy in the teaching of English, not just a government policy. Yes. What do I mean by that? It's like every time there is a new government, they try to change the policies regarding the teaching of English or teaching a second language, a foreign language. But we don't have a state policy as in some other countries they do. Yes. Even in Latin American countries, they do have a state policy. So no matter which government gets the handle of the country, we still continue, or they still continue doing the same thing towards a greater objective. No, so that's one of another challenge that we have. And as teachers, I think we should be united, and that's another problem that we have. We have so many, and nowadays with all this online era, so many teachers associations that really I have lost count. No, and we don't have a one strong teacher association that goes up, stands up, and say, okay, here we are. Please, Minister of Education, listen to us. No? So that's another problem that we have, another challenge. And maybe that really depends on all us teachers, all of us. No, but unfortunately, there are so many small associations, and it's like there are feuds. No, this is my association, and I don't want to be together with you because you belong to the American and you are British. And I say, come on, we're Peruvian, no? But anyway, maybe I'm venting out.
Your microphone, Julio.
What really happened, this is what's happening in Peru. Another one is, I think one of you mentioned it, how to promote that the idea that teaching English is a great career, is a great profession. No, how can we go to schools, secondary schools, and ask the high school leavers? No, they go, okay, we're going to finish university. What do I want to do? So come on, become a teacher of English. No, that's what we need to do also here in Peru, to promote that idea. Because English, I mean, teaching English is well, we all know that is super nice, and we're passionate about that. But the problem is that when they go out in the job field, they usually want to go to a language institute, no, a binational center. And then What about the schools? What about public schools? Private schools, no? And that's another challenge, to reduce the gap in terms of efficiency and knowledge and well training between public and private schools. You know? According to research here, most of our teachers in public schools, they have B1, B2. Most of them are between B1 and B2 level. No? When we should be above B2, C1 at least. No? And that's one of the problems that we need to try to work out a solution. Also, that goes beyond the day-to-day teaching learning process, is that in Peru, I don't know about Latin America, but we do not have much research. We don't do much research. We have lack of research. So whichever comes to us, they come from research done in or carried out in China, carried out nowadays, China and the Eastern European countries. They are the providers of lots of research, yes? And what about us? So we just import ideas and we adapt them, but why not taking our own ideas? Yes, I know that doing research, it takes time, takes money. So maybe if we are working at universities, we can try to convince the authorities to do a joint work between different universities working towards that research. No, I think Andrea mentioned that in her university, they do some research, but talking about Peru, not much, no? And if I ask now how many teachers of English have a doctorate in linguistics or applied linguistics or whatever, there will be like 2 or 3. So you can see, I mean, that's a clear example of what we are, at what level we are in terms of research. No? So we have to work here and in this part. And something that also mentioned, I think was Mercilinda, I don't remember, but it's to promote, no, sorry, I'm checking the names in María Teresa, yes? María Teresa mentioned collaborative learning, no? But I would say, why don't we promote collaborative teaching? And that also has to do with research, no? If we were doing research, we would be working on collaborative teaching. Yes, and that's something that I wanted to share. That's it, thank you.
No, thank you, Julio. Now let's go to Mexico, Marco Aparicio.
Thank you. Well, this is the question that you gave us. What do you think the principal challenges in teaching and learning English are in our countries? So I think there are 2 questions in one. And we have to be able to make the difference between the teaching part and the learning part, although of course the 2 of them are very closely related to each other, right? There are many challenges, but I selected this one, and what I have been paying to my colleagues who are talking, and I am sure this issue is connected to some of the problems that they have mentioned. It says here, the teaching of English has been mandatory for many years in Mexico. However, although the Ministry of Education, universities, and the directors of language teaching institutions have worked hard to improve the English teaching curriculum in their schools, it has not been possible to design a curriculum which can give the students the sufficient amount of contact with the language and the necessary amount of practice of the language, or the necessary quality input that can help the students to go through an appropriate process of acquisition of English, so that they can more easily develop their language skills and the necessary knowledge of English to achieve a meaningful learning of the language. This situation leads to several factors: having multi-level classes, a variety of attitudes to English that students may have, many times negative attitudes towards the language or negative attitudes towards learning the language, every year, another very important and difficult factor, every year as students enroll in an upper educational level in primary school, in secondary school, or in high school, the English teacher has to teach the same contents again, because the students were not able to acquire a higher proficiency level during the previous year. This situation may be emphasized by the lack of incentives from institutions towards teachers to be promoted in their jobs, and because of the low salaries that many English teachers receive. Well, this is a huge problem. This, unfortunately, I believe that unfortunately this situation has been promoted by the political decisions that the government implements in relation to teaching English. Some years ago, the president of the country decided that from that day, English would be taught in primary school. But my question was, where is the research which shows that we are prepared for doing that? Where is the research which demonstrates or gives the evidence to that there are the necessary human resources and infrastructure resources and economic money resources for doing all that? Or where are the curriculum, the new curriculums prepared, and where is the demonstration? If there were the new curriculums prepared, where is the demonstration that they will work, for example, right? This is why I mentioned political decisions are not based on academic decisions or information. Regarding challenges in learning English in Mexico, in most contexts in Latin America, students do not live in an area where English is used for everyday communication. This is a Spanish-speaking territory, and for many of them, it is not easy to find someone with whom they can have some constant practice of this language. That has to do with the situation that we speak very much about, the situation of English as a second language versus English as a foreign language. When I teach my linguistics classes, when I teach a language acquisition class, I try to emphasize very much on the fact that it is very, very important to observe and understand that these are two very different situations. I think that most books, because they have been written, books about language teaching, that are written based on research, of course, because they have been written especially by native English speakers or following the English tradition, the tradition of using English for writing this type of materials. Many of them are written based on taking into account the research carried out in English-speaking countries, where students learn English, but at the same time are every day in contact with the language, with English, the language they are learning, every day and throughout the day, right? But this is a very different situation in our countries in Latin America, right? Because in those countries, England, the United States, students finish the class, they go out to the real world in English. But our students finish the class after 50 minutes, after 1 or 2 hours, 1 day a week, or 5 days a week, if possible. But after the class, they go out to the real world in Spanish or Portuguese in Brazil, right? That's a very different situation, and that represents or means very different amounts of input and quality input for the students. Students do not have the adequate technology. That's another problem, challenge also. Students do not have the adequate technology to study at home. For example, a computer, internet services, access to academic sources of information. At the beginning of the pandemic, this was a very huge problem, I suppose also in the whole Latin America. Now there are still problems with this. Students have been having problems or still have problems, but although little by little they have been doing something for having a computer available for the class, for taking their classes. Students do not have the necessary strategies to do autonomous work. That's another huge problem. I think many times we as adult people, we as teachers, do not still have developed the strategies to be autonomous. That is a very, very huge problem, especially for students, right? Well, these are some of the challenges that I have visualized.
Thank you so much, Marco Antonio in Mexico. And finally, Josue in Ecuador.
Thank you very much. Well, I was paying attention to what Marco Antonio, Aparicio was talking about, okay? It was really interesting listening to this teacher. He mentioned some aspects that are crucial, at least the way I see it. First of all, policies. In Ecuador, we face, as in other countries, of course, we face the situation that policies are changed every time a new government is there. No, that is the first point. So we do need clear policies that orient teachers also, okay, and curriculum designers, of course, in how the English should be taught in our countries, number one. The second one is the curriculum. Here in Ecuador, for example, recently, actually last year, during the pandemic, we changed our curriculum. And we faced a new situation. Actually, somehow for all of us, this pandemic put on the table the real situation all of us have to face. And in Ecuador, of course, it happens the same. And during that time, in our university, for example, we changed the curricula of all our majors. And that represented a big problem for all of us. In our case, our career also changed the curricula, and that somehow represented the problem not only for teachers, but mostly for students, because in addition to this pandemic situation, they have to deal with this new curriculum. So the idea would be that the government give or state clear policies that favor not only teaching English, but also education in general. That's for the first thing. The second thing I was thinking about was teacher preparation. In our case, in Ecuador, one of the governments that preceded this one actually invested money, actually a lot of money, in teacher preparation. There was a big program called the Go Teacher program. Maybe some of you have heard about it. It was a big program sponsored by our government. And as far as I know, many people had the opportunity to travel to the States to study for 8 months or so, okay? And actually they took part in professional development programs, not master programs at the beginning. Later, some other teachers had the opportunity to travel to the States and get their master's program, their master's degree. That helped. Of course, it helped. Now we have a good number of teachers in Ecuador who have had the opportunity to travel to see things differently, to see how English works or how English is taught in the States, and that helped. it helped. However, we need to continue working on that. Teaching preparation is important. All of us teach new teachers. And we are sure that teacher preparation is crucial. So that is another challenge I think we need to consider. Another point, it is what we have to face during this pandemic, technology. All of us have had problems in our lessons due to technology. And it's a very difficult problem because actually it's not only for teachers, mostly it is for students. Well, sometimes, okay, we can deal with this situation, but the students, in most cases, at least in the place where I teach, they have serious problems with technology. And that is one of the biggest problems I do think we need to consider. And of course, we need to make adaptations, and that is a big challenge. We need to begin to make these new adaptations. We need to adapt ourselves to this new situation. Actually, things are going to change. Actually, things changed from last year on, and they will continue changing. And we need to be very versatile to adapt to these new situations. That's what I can say. Thank you.
No, thank you, dear Josue. Before going on to the next question, which is the last, suggest and explain a topic or issue you want to share with all the Latin American community of English teachers. I would like somebody here in the audience like Raj or maybe Anthony or Pilar or Rana in England. Hello, Rana. Jose in Colombia, or Carlos Carranza or Pau, who wants to say something about all the interesting information we are listening and learning from different realities, but all the same have something in common, right? That is the passion we all have to continue doing what we do. I remember this question they asked us in Costa Rica: why do you do what you do? Why do you do what you do? It's not because of money. It's not because of the car or the house, but it's because of the passion we have. Somebody, Raj, Rana, Pau, Jose, Maria Teresa, sorry, Carlos or Pilar or Anthony.
Hello.
Hello in England.
Hi.
Good afternoon
hi.
in England.
Yes, it's afternoon. It's about to be evening now. It's 5 o'clock in the evening. Hello, everyone. My name is Rana Bilal, and I work as a senior lecturer in ESOL, and I'm also the Dean of Students at a college campus, at a university campus here in England. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jaime, for actually inviting me and listening. And you gave me the opportunity to listen to wonderful talks. Basically, it's a virtual travel to all these countries, you know, in Bolivia, Peru, Colombia, Argentina. So especially given in the current circumstances where we cannot travel, I really enjoyed listening to you all, you know, talking about different concerns and talking about different methodologies and procedures we are and you are following. It's a great learning experience for me, to be honest. It's a great learning experience for me to listen how English language teaching is conducted and what are the different institutes are doing in different parts of the world. As Jaime said, I think to some extent we all have the same concerns. We all have the same kind of issues and all those things. And of course we are doing our best to perform as a good teacher. There are a couple of things which were really relevant, and I wanted to highlight those things. I think Julio mentioned about research and academic resources. I think we should think about developing research consortiums. Research consortiums mean, for example, one student from Peru, one student from Argentina, one student from Bolivia. They all 3 or 4, they get together and try to make a research project based upon the native issues of South America or Latin America. and they produce a paper. Which paper goes into publication. So in this way, we will address the issue that, okay, most of the research is coming from England, USA, other English-speaking countries. So when you will make a research consortium of your students, they will go for a native research experiences, and they will address the native issues in the culture, which will definitely enrich their experiences, and other teachers will be benefited by their research experiences and data analysis. And of course, they will get publications. So one thing, I mean, we can all do all those things. And in this regard, if you need my expertise, like if I can support someone on research basis, if I can help someone on research topics, I would love to do that. I mean, Jaime is always a very dear to me. He's always a very close friend. So I'm happy to supervise. I'm happy to share my research background and my research experiences based upon those kind of topics. Recently, we did a project for Pakistani government, which talking about matching the learning needs with the teaching styles. So probably we can initiate similar sort of project supported by your young students, and they can work in those areas. So one was this point, developing research consortium among countries and universities. Number two, I mean, working in the UK, and because recently I got a new administrative responsibility as the Dean of Students along with my teaching. How we address the concerns, and I'm using the word abuse, and abuse in a very larger context. For example, emotional abuse, technological abuse, parental abuse, financial abuse, mental abuse, how we are going to save our students from those abuses. I mean, these days we are really working a lot in the UK to address all these issues. And I'm sure these issues would go globally, and they are happening globally actually. So probably we need to devise some strategies that how we can safeguard our students from the word abuse, and how we can safeguard them, because our students are future teachers. So if we are saving them from abuse, definitely they will carry this legacy, and they would safeguard their students when they would go into teaching. So, I mean, we need to start at some point to talking about abuse openly and how to safeguard those abuse. Yeah, I just wanted to say these two things.
So thank you so much, Rana, for such wise comments and ideas. And believe me, from now on, you are the official Latin American advisor. So could you please write down, could you please write down your email so everyone will contact you? Believe me, and your followers will increase, number of followers will increase right now. Could you please, could you please type your email?
Yeah, I think me and Jaime, we are good friends, and we really like to joke sometime a lot. So you know what I mean? Yeah.
But I'm not joking this time.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We'll listen to somebody else later. Let's go to the next question. We have 24 more minutes to go over the next question, which is suggest and explain a topic or issue you want to share with the audience. So who wants to start? Who wants to talk about an issue that you consider very important and that you should mention and share with us?
May I?
Please, Maria Teresa.
All right. The issue in which I'm engaged with in my teaching process is sociolinguistics, right? Sociolinguistics and English language teaching. I consider that when we are dealing with language teaching at any level, we also are involved, we are also concerned with sociolinguistics. And I just have over here, it's very brief, but I think it's going to be able to share with you these aspects that are included over here. In ELT, something that is very important is the communicative competence. To communicate, to deal, to interact with other people. With this, we consider that linguistic competence is important. Linguistic competence taking into account the grammar structures, all the issues that are related to speaking another language. And pragmatic competence and sociolinguistic competence. When I said, probably everybody is concerned or is aware about the linguistic competence that students or people need in general to communicate and to be part of a speech community, right? The same thing as pragmatic competence. But when we talk about sociolinguistic competence, sometimes we might not be aware of the importance of learning different cultural aspects, learning about different procedures followed when we talk with people from other countries, from other nations, to understand the beliefs, the values, and the behavior that people have. And then if we are not aware of them, we tend to criticize because we are comparing them with what we have. So I put over here this sociolinguistic competence and the importance of having sociolinguistic knowledge and English language teaching because they are closely connected. Remember, language and society cannot be separated, right? There is a bond, there is a link that connects them because that's a way in which we express ourselves and the characteristics that we have according to our origins, to our country, is expressed through language as well. Okay, that's what I want to share with you.
Thank you so much, Maria Teresa. Next one, who's the next volunteer?
Jaime, I would like to start, if you
please
allow me.
Please.
Yeah, I would like to share something that I'm starting to work on is reflective teaching. That is an area that is like goes through different aspects of the teaching learning process. And we're always saying learning never stops, we never stop learning, but what do we do about it? No? What can we do about it? And I think a good way to promote this is doing some reflection, teaching reflection, because that also involves that collaborative work that should be between or among teachers, and that also help us work on our teacher development. No? If I get together as in these kind of gatherings, and I know, wow, here I need to work on these areas, I can see what teachers or teachers associations are doing in Colombia, no, in Ecuador, the similarities and differences that we have, then by reflecting, I think we can improve our teacher profession, not only teaching wise, but also as a person. Yes, and it's something that we also have to pay attention to. Yeah? How are we doing as a person? What am I doing? What kind of example I'm setting for my students? So now with this online teaching learning environment, it helps to work, for example, on peer observation. How often do we do peer observation? Usually it's for in-training service. But what about more experienced teachers? No, sometimes we forget that we're also teachers, and despite our experience, we always have something to learn, yes, and something to share. And it's so nice to have just new teacher in the area and watching and observing my lesson and then telling me,
hey, Julio, you should have done this, or I think you should have this. And I say, okay, why? And we start talking. We create this dialogue that is so important. And I think we should promote this kind of dialogue. Yes, a professional kind of dialogue. No, it's like when you go and you listen to engineers talking about their profession. Yes, it's kind of a very skillful, wise kind of talk. No, why can't we? You know, instead of just focusing on how do I teach this? I teach communicatively and so on. No, okay, what am I going to do? Why this kind of work works at 7 o'clock and it doesn't work at 2 p.m.? Why it works in Piura and it doesn't work in Lima? I'm talking about Peru. Yes. Why? What can I do in order to help my fellow teachers? So what do I have to reflect on in order to improve myself, my profession, my English? Yes, I'm telling you this sometimes. When we work on this kind of topic, reflecting, teachers realize that we still have lots of things to learn, lots of things to adapt, lots of things to create. You know? And that's something that we should work on. That's what I was going to tell you, my dear friends.
Thank you, Julio. Now Gladys and then Mercilinda. Gladys in Colombia.
Thank you, Jaimito. So just I want to highlight some key aspects, right? For sure, I think that I agree with some of you. I think so, or with everybody, I think so. For example, doing research. This is something we have to motivate in our classrooms. And also, we also as teachers, we have to do a constant process of research from our classrooms. Well, something also I consider is important is that we continue or we develop constant academic training. Yeah, so I mean, never stop studying or something like that. Yeah, because we have to do it. I think so. This is a way to improve everything what we do, our methodologies. So be in touch with the academic communities and things like that. For sure, this is also so important to participate in events. So I mean academic events like this. Many of those events have been through the web, you know, in web meetings like we are doing today. But I think that soon we are going to be face-to-face. But anyway, the most important is that we try to participate in those events in order to check what is happening, yeah, in other countries around the world, and also to communicate those so the development of the different movements of anyway the education with our students. And also the technology. I think that what we learned with the pandemic is that this is something we have to include, and it is going to remain in our classrooms. I don't know for how long time, but we have to try to include and continue working with those strategies and methodologies that also help us to improve our education. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Gladys. Mercilinda in Guatemala.
Okay. Thank you, Jaime. Well, actually, I agree that it is important that we think of doing some research and doing some other meetings and having this. But I think that something that we don't have to put apart is the thing that we as teachers, can you hear me? Yes? Okay.
Yes,
so,
everything is perfect.
Thank you. Well, so we don't have to forget. I mean, we have always to remember that we, first of all, are people, that we are people, and with that, we are thinking on the teaching process and the learning process, but what about the person? What about the teacher itself? Okay, so the experience is that some teachers are now working with, especially in teaching English, like where you have to show the language, that we have to show them how to move their mouths. So how are we going to teach English wearing a mask? How are we going to teach that? I mean, so is it okay to continue online, that at least our students can see our faces and our expressions and things, but with the mask, or we're going to have those translucent masks all over the face? So I think that we have to focus in two aspects, in the personal aspect and in the professional aspect. In the personal aspect, we have to talk about our needs and our student needs. And we have to protect everybody's safety and well-being. We are working extra hours, we are doing extra time, but we are not doing extra money, okay? In the professional field, we have to adapt, of course, all of the approaches of teaching and learning, because there are many approaches. And we say, oh, the communicative approach, no, the grammar approach, the grammar translation method. So there's no one single method that fits our needs right now, okay? So everyone has to adapt. We have to promote innovation, yeah? The system has to change. We have to innovate the systems of education in our countries. Latin American, we try to follow the European style, we have to follow the American style, but we have our own identity. And we have to promote innovation in that methodology. We have to discuss on how to adjust school calendars, yeah? The curriculum, it has to be, how are we going to implement the curriculum? And important, of course, talking about the professional aspect, we have to use more diagnostic and formative assessments. And of course, as I said, make adjustments, the necessary adjustments that we have. So in order to make those adjustments, it is necessary to take into account some aspects, for example, the characteristic of the national curriculum. So Guatemala has the Curriculum Nacional Básico, which has the different topics that every teacher should be teaching in different courses. But when we see that it's so basic that we go like, oh my God, this is not enough. It's so basic. The resources and capacities to develop distance learning processes in the levels of education in our countries, the school year. So we here in Guatemala, we start in January and we finish in October. So it's going to be like 2 years that lost classes, our students. The adjustments must prioritize the competences and values. Values as solidarity, self-direct learning, care of oneself and others, social emotional skills, health and resilience. So we have to think of the teacher as a person. And that is something that really, really worries me, because people talk about like how to improve the teaching learning process. Okay, but what about the teacher? We have to take care of the teacher. We have to think about the teacher, okay? Of course, we have to adapt, and we have adapted ourselves to the new styles, okay? Now we are teaching and online, and the students are taking classes from home, etc. So that's okay. But to close this, the issues that cause my attention in Latin America are the decision-making criteria and the approaches regarding learning priorities and how to make these adjustments, okay? Every single paper that I read about uses of approaches and decision-making in my country has to do with other things but teaching English, okay? So the priority is not learning or teaching a language right now in our country because of the pandemic, of course. And another issue is that not all teachers are well prepared to conduct and facilitate education in online. And of course, continuity, that is something that is really important, okay? So we cannot have a group of students in March and thinking that now that we are going to be back in January, we're going to stop the same place that we finished. No, probably we will have to do all over again, yeah. And finally, some teachers could be asked to simultaneously continue both face-to-face and online education. So that has to do with the abuse that our friend said. And other teachers are going to be asked to complete double shifts to keep class sizes down and to allow physical distancing. So the thing is this for the real cost to allow physical distance, or is that they don't want to pay more teachers? So these are the issues that really worries me, okay? The teacher itself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mercilinda. And finally, Josue and Marco Antonio. Josue, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I was listening to this girl talking, and it's really, really nice sharing these opinions with you. Well, I was to tell something about collaborative teaching and also how we can begin to interact and do research, probably doing collaborative teaching and also doing research helps a lot. But as Mercilinda says, it is important that we consider ourselves as human beings. And that is really, really important in education. It's not only a matter of doing good research and also doing collaborative learning, it's also considering ourselves and considering our students as human beings. Stop teaching, as you mentioned before, one of you mentioned, stop teaching on the mask, behind a mask, and that is something that doesn't work, something that it has been proven throughout this pandemic that doesn't work, okay? So in my case, I only can say that it is very important for all of us to start collaborating together, independently of the borders that somehow separate us. But it's very important that we begin to work as we are, as human beings, as teachers, from where we are, okay? So no matter if I'm from Ecuador, if I teach here in Ecuador, it's very important that we consider ourselves English teachers and that we do this because we like it, and that's it. Thank you.
Yes, and we are passionate about education.
Sure.
And finally, Marco Antonio from Mexico.
Yes, thank you. You said the last question, right?
Yes,
well,
my friend.
This was the last question. Suggest and explain a topic issue you want to share with all the Latin American community of English teachers. Well, this is the topic I would like to share and mention. It's something important. The importance of the area of linguistics in second and foreign language teaching. I mean, as language teachers who have studied probably a BA program or a master's program, or we have professionalized in the area of language teaching, we know that linguistics, the area of linguistics is a very influential area in this other area of language teaching, in this case, English language teaching. Well, but I would like to mention that at least here in my context, when I ask my colleagues whether they consider the area of linguistics important or the knowledge of linguistics important for them as language teachers, they say, yes, of course it is. It is important. However, sometimes when I observe their opinions, what they mention about, sometimes, or some of them, what they mention about students who are having problems with learning the language, or some other type of situations about the process of second language acquisition of their students, or even when I observe what they say about other colleagues in reference to, for example, their pronunciation of English, in reference to their use of grammar, because they are non-native speakers of English. Well, I think that they may say the knowledge of linguistics is important, but they probably do not know very much about linguistics. And that's not the problem, because everybody has to learn about that, but probably they do not try to learn more about that. In fact, someone a few minutes ago mentioned that something like there are very few linguists in his or her school. I don't know who it was, right? I have observed that in our area of English language teaching, there are in general, there are very few linguists or professionals who teach classes in the area of linguistics. Most of them dedicate, of course, because this is the basic area, they are dedicated to teach and learn and probably do research in the area of language teaching and language learning. But there are not many people who become interested in the area of linguistics. I have, talking with my colleagues, I sometimes observe that probably they are afraid of the knowledge of the area of linguistics, probably because they don't know very much about it, probably because they haven't been able, there hasn't been someone who has clearly explained what linguistics is about. But the knowledge of the area of linguistics is very, very important. For example, it seems to me it was María Teresa who mentioned the important connection between sociolinguistics and language teaching. I would like to add to her presentation and say that as language teachers, we have to teach students to communicate in English. And when we teach them to communicate in English, that means that we have to teach them to communicate in different social groups, to communicate in the language in different social groups, either formally, informally, different types of groups of probably professional areas or other formal situations. I mean, that has to do also with the culture that she mentioned, of course. So and it also has to do with our knowledge of what the different varieties of a language are, right? Because English, for example, is not a static language. English is the spoken worldwide, is the universal language nowadays around our planet. And so there are thousands and millions of people who speak English as native speakers and non-native speakers. And so there are a huge amount of varieties of English. We speak here about Mexican English, for example, and that's a reality also. There must be a reality about Peruvian English, about Ecuadorian English, etc. And why should someone say that we speak English badly or not appropriately, right? Well, but that has to do with a lot more knowledge about the area of linguistics. I just want to share very quickly something that a colleague said around 2 years ago when I did some research about what teachers believed about the knowledge of linguistics for language teachers, right? This colleague is a person who has a master's degree in language sciences and is completing a doctoral degree in language sciences also. I mean, he has been dedicated to the area of linguistics in their master's program and now in their doctoral program, right? It is here. Regarding the importance of the linguistic knowledge, he said, yes, definitely. Linguistics may facilitate the process of explanation, justification, and application. The language sciences disciplines allow us to understand the use and consequently the explanation of how the speaker is able to communicate. We have to take into account not only the code, that is, not only a structural linguistic description, we also have to take into account other aspects which are part of those explicit and implicit codes that the speakers use when they are immersed in situations of communicative interaction. It is necessary to go beyond the representation of the code and also take into account the users of that code. So the language sciences deal with that dimension. They deal with the process of communication. That is the reason why I am convinced that these disciplines facilitate the explanation, the justification, the application of the process of teaching a language and changing that idea people have about speaking a language is about mastering a code, and that's enough. But this is not that way, because the speaker goes beyond the simple use of a code as a logical representation of a language. On the other hand, regarding the linguistics teacher's role as professionals preparing language teachers, professional language teachers, he said, the role of the linguistics teacher in training future language teachers is to help them understand the importance of these disciplines in their professional job and how they can use them for their benefit. It is important that language teachers understand that having this knowledge is valuable for them to be able to apply it in their teaching strategies, in their pedagogical strategies, in their didactic strategies. But this knowledge is for them as language teachers. They do not necessarily have to share it with their students who are learning a language. Language learners are not interested in that linguistic knowledge that we know. That knowledge is for yourself, for you to be able to do your professional job in a better manner. So I think this is something, some food for thought. I mean, some kind of important information for reflection. Thank you very much.
No, it's been very, very reflective, dear Marco. Well, I won't say, as everybody says, that time is our enemy, but because of the time restrictions, for example, have a look at Anthony. He's listening to us, but he's with his baby. Thank you so much, Anthony. I would like to give the chance to our president, the president of our English Human Association, Raj, to do the wrap up of this wonderful presentation today.
You know, I'm really appreciating this session because I've learned so much about teachers and so much about the practice of teaching. And as a teacher of nonviolent communication, it's not just teaching nonviolent communication, it's who I'm being as a teacher and how aware I am of the impact that it's having. And internationally, I teach this. So you've provided a lot of things for me to think about. And I will use this information, review this tape again. And again, I think I also want to honor Rana suggesting that we do our own research and that is culturally sensitive so that we are coming from our own experience. And I think Anthony is nodding, so I'd like him to share some perspective as well.
Before
Thank you very much, Raj.
Okay,
Thank you.
Go on, Anthony.
Yes.
Anthony and baby.
Yes, Anthony Jr. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, our special guest today. It's been a very wonderful experience with you. As, will I call it a foreigner who is not a Peruvian, looking at it is a very diverse situation, and we are really on the right track. But the only thing I want to bring us to, in this reflection, something I'm going out with is how can we say that we speak English badly or inappropriately? I like that. There is this over-consciousness of British-American English dichotomy here in Peru. I want us to begin to dissolve that. Unless we make English Peruvian, we are not going anywhere, or Ecuadorian, or Mexican, or Latin American, we are not going anywhere. The second thing is about the foundation too. And from my own experience, whenever schools, if we go back to our primary school and initial and secondary schools, whenever schools want to do extracurricular activity, the hour that suffer most is the English hour. They will not do the dancing or any other program during the mathematics time or mathematics period or communication period. They will come to the English teacher and the students have something to do. We have to use your period. So at the end of the day, it is the English hour that suffers most. And we know that we have limited time for the English class. And if you take more out of it, you see how students suffer. So that gives us a kind of reflection of how English is taken. So going back to the foundation will also help us, teachers, parents, improve the we call it courage. Let me use the word courage, because many of our students are shy of making mistakes, thinking that they will speak badly. Then finally, also to encourage families that English language is very important, it's becoming global. That's the little I have to say, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony. Anthony is amazing. He was feeding the baby and at the same time taking notes. I wonder how you do that. And finally, let me thank very much Pilar Lamb, because you are studying to become a prospective teacher. So you are the one to say what you got from this wonderful roundtable from such wonderful professionals. Pilar, in Bolivia.
Maria, thank you so much, Jaime. And I'm very honored to be here to learn with such amazing educators. And I would like to thank you. I've learned so much because whenever we face a problem or a situation, there are always 2 points of view, we may say. And I've learned, I know my point of view as a student, and now I learned about yours as educators. So thank you so much. And more than my opinion, I would like to encourage you to thank you, first of all, for the wonderful work that you are all doing, despite all the, the problems you may be dealing with. And I would like to encourage you to keep doing the best, because you are the ones that become our model to follow. So, and I'm sure that all the students you have great models to follow. I thank you so much for this terrific work you're doing.
Thank you for such beautiful words, Pilar. Now, closing words, not final, not last words, but closing words, please. Josue, to say goodbye.
Yeah, to say goodbye. I just wanted to say something. Well, I saw here to Paola Tequis. Paola Tequis is one of our students. I didn't realize she was here. So I would like to thank her as well for being here, sharing this morning with us. Thank you, Paola. Thank you very much. And thank you all. It's been a pleasure.
No, thank you, Josue. I hope to have you back soon again. Mercilinda.
Well, I really want to thank everybody, especially Jaime, for organizing these meetings. It's really important that we get together with colleagues and that we know that we are not alone, so that we are facing the same challenges and the same issues all over Latin America and maybe all over the world. So thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure to share my experiences and my issues with you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Andrés Scagnetti, Argentina. I'm so sorry, Andrea, because now it must be like lunchtime and maybe in Argentina.
Now I just wanted to share the last question because I couldn't. We have a great responsibility because we try to guarantee other people's rights. So it's been a pleasure to share this afternoon with you. And I've learned a lot too. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes, you are right, Andrea. I skipped you. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize.
Okay.
Sorry. Marco Antonio. Your microphone, Marco.
Yes. First of all, thank you for the invitation, and thank you all for the interesting information that you have provided this morning. As someone already mentioned, it is interesting to know that we it is a reality that we share similar problems, and it would be very nice and appropriate to try to work together to improve ourselves as teachers. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. And also as human beings, right? Gladys in Colombia.
Thank you, Jaimito. So I'm very pleasure to be here with you, to listen to you, also to share a little bit about my country, about my university, and I really hope we can meet again. Thanks a lot.
Yes, and start new projects with our supervisor and director in England, who will be helping our students, right, Rana? And finally, Julio in Lima, Peru.
Hi, well, just again to thank you, Jaime, thank you, all you participants and colleagues, because we share so many common things, and I've learned also what ideas of what we can do together, and I think we can do it. Thank you.
Yes, we will be able to do it. And thank you so much for these 2 hours and 15 minutes of your beautiful, precious time on a Sunday afternoon or morning. That is very valuable. And thank you. God bless you all. And see you soon in our next roundtable that I'm sure we will organize, maybe with the presidents of your universities or students that I don't know, but something else we need to do, or maybe the ministers of education of your countries. I have the contacts. So thank you. Thank you. So thank you, everyone, and see you very soon. God bless you all. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. And thank you to all the people in Facebook Live.